talk about hair color. In particular, hair color formulation. I entered cosmetology school at 19 years old. Throughout school, once I got out, up until today, my whole career, hair color is still taboo. In particular, coloring hair on black women or coloring dark hair, level 1, level 2, and level 3, and raising those levels to, let's say, 7, 8, or 9. It's still something that many people inside of our salon and salon suites run from. And I'll hear words like, I'm scared of color. I'm convinced that that's not true. People aren't scared of color. The fear is in, I might make a mistake. It's not gonna come out like I think. Hairstylists love hair color. People love hair color of every shade of skin, of every race and background, and every texture of hair. It's the different components of hair color that we're uneasy about many times in our salons. Application, placement, the health of the hair after you put the hair color on. And one of the #1 things that doesn't get a lot of us started is formulation. So today we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about some instances of formulating and some tips and tricks on formulation that can help you inside of your salon and salon suites. Now I'm gonna use some footage from tutorials on my online membership called the Tribe Membership. I'm gonna show footage there, but if you wanna see these full tutorials, click the link inside of the description of this video and you can sign up for the membership, and there are dozens of tutorials where I go through products, guys, tools, finish, formulation, application, placement, and really theory of hair color. We even have inside of the Tribe Membership an entire module separate from the tutorials that's called Hair Color Theory Made Easy. It's that big of a deal. So we're gonna use some footage here and I'm gonna do a little voiceover while we're going over. Again, these are just clips from full length tutorials, but it gives you an idea of what's in the tribe, and you can get it for free here on YouTube, and you can use it today or tomorrow inside of your salon. All right, so our first model is going to be Sabrina. She's got like level 3, some places are even lighter than level 3, and we're going to achieve this fire red alert transformation. Again, this full tutorial, guys, step by step, the color line that I use, the tools, the finish, the placement, all on the Tribe Membership. We're going to talk a little bit about her formulation. We're going in with 7.66 RR. And we're going to add in a red booster, which is raw red permanent pigment, with the 7.66 from Rusk and the booster being from Kenra. Yes, you can intertwine both lines in both companies. I talk a lot about that on the Tribe Membership. Now we got 5 ounces of the 7.66 or the 7RR, level 7 raw intense red, and we need 1 to 1.5 for the developer. So it's 5 ounces. We're going in with 7.5 or 2.5 ounces more of developer. Notice that I'm not adding more developer with this raw pigment. I like to think about raw pigments or boosters like seasoning, right? We don't have to expand, the liquid in the pot for any cooks that are out there. This is flavoring in my mind. So I don't want to alter the formulation as far as the developer. I put the developer to connect with the permanent shade, which is the base color that we're using. Ultimately, we're going to add on top of this a raw direct dye for intensity, but I want to show how you can add that intense color even in the base, and then when you want that electric or raw pigment, you can add on top instead of maybe going in with blonde, right? You can get a base of copper, a base of red, a base of chocolate before you go on and add on your direct dyes or your pigments. Does that mean, and I'm not talking about the pigment inside of permanent, I'm talking about the raw pigment, the direct dye, or somebody would say gloss or rinse on top. Sometimes in order to get rich red, we will only go in with blonding, which is an option, right? If you want to go in with a yellow base blonde. But I'm saying in order to make this red color last longer, instead of the blonde being that powerful base underneath and eventually wearing off the red rinse or the red pigment or the red something like a Pravana Vivids, or we're going to use a different line here, eventually they'll mix together and create orange. But if the base is red and the layer on top is red, we're going to have that intensity a lot more. So this is the single process results with 7.66 or 7RR and adding in that spice of raw pigment of the red booster. This is just the base, right? She looked in the mirror and she was like, I like that. But we're going to go in now right on top of that without even neutralizing. And now we're going to take a lightening paste. Now this is 1-to-1. Typically, you would have maybe a powder that most of us and many of us have used for years, but the popularity of blonding paste have become a lot more, you'll see it a lot more in many stylists' repertoire. I like it because you can control it a lot more. It's not as messy. You're going in with something that's a lot thicker, but has the same results to lift whatever it comes in contact with. Now, we can use it on natural level, 1, 2, or 3. But in this instance, I want to lift the red that I just created. Remember, I said I did not even neutralize. I simply rinsed off that color, and I'm going to neutralize all of this, both the pre-lightened pieces and the base that we created with the red, before adding on. If you're a colorist right now, you're thinking, oh, that's going to create like this pinkish color or a lighter variation of that red in order to have a super intense with variation, rich red, result at the end. So I like to put that out there that you can use lightener with a very time-saving effect by simply going in right after the bowl when you rinse your base and pre-lighten some pieces to have some, money pieces or intense pieces. We're going in with this new line here. This is my first time using it, Danger Jones, but use your favorite, direct dye that you love out there. I just heard about this one and I'm using it. I enjoyed it. I like what they had. I only used the red so far, but I bought a few of the shades. So after I neutralize both the base that I created with the 7RR and with that red intensifier, then I went in and pre-lightened with 1-to-1, right? 1 ounce of the paste, 1 ounce of the developer. Now I'm going in after those have been shampooed and neutralized with this direct dye from Danger Jones Creative, semi-permanent, to lay on top of the entire creation and formulation. You see the pops of the pinkish shade. She actually saw the pink highlights inside of the red and she was like, you really don't even have to go any further, right? See how rich that base is from how we formulated, and we've got those pre-lightened pieces and the curls are still intact, right? So she could wear it curly, or we're going to go in and silk it out. But we're going to add in this intense semi-permanent on top. So in this one model, you'll see permanent formulation, you'll see lightening, right? Which is also permanent, but it's a different kind of formulated with just erasing or taking away pigment, versus permanent color is lifting and dropping a new shade in that red. Lightener is just lifting, right? Without deposit. And now we're depositing a single direct dye, which has no developer, on the end. So it was a lot in this one model I wanted to show. That's why I encourage you guys, if you're a colorist out there that want to enhance your game, to see this full tutorial, go ahead and sign inside of this description of this video into the Tribe membership. Guys, it's $17 a month. There are dozens of tutorials like this, and there's 11 different modules of all different topics that I think are important for success in the modern day hairstylist in our salons and salon suites. And here's our final result. Again, you could use a blonde pre-lightened head of hair and just add on the red direct dye, but this is going to last so much longer, and we know red fades almost immediately once they leave out of the salon. So have your base to be a permanent shade that you formulate to have that richness, and then add that intensified direct dye on top. All right, so our next model is Kim. Again, this is a full tutorial on the Tribe. We're going to go in with some chunky highlighting. The first highlight color, we're going to use a combination of 2 different variations of copper, one more of a golden copper and the more lighter of the 2. And then we're going to combine that with more of a standard rich level 7 copper. Then we're going to come behind that with some chunky blonde highlighting inside, perfect for the fall, really year round. This could really be something in the summer as well. Making sure that we don't put any more stress on her strands. She has a little weakness in some other areas in her crown as well as in the hairline. So we're not going all the way to the root like we did on the model prior with the red from scalp all the way down to the end. So we're sectioning off. Be sure to section prior to your formulation so you can get with your application immediately after you've mixed your formula. All right, we're going with 9.34 CG, 7.4 copper. Don't be thrown off, guys, by the decimal inside of the naming of the color. We're going to go with half and half, so 1.5, 1.5, 3 total ounces of the color. And then remember, Rusk, or the line that you're using, be sure to understand the ratio. Some are 1:1. This one is 1 to 1.5. So we're going to go in with 3 ounces and then adding on half of 3. So that would be 4.5. Does that make sense? 3 ounces is what's in the bowl. So we do equal would be 1. And then we're going in with 40 volume. We're going to add on 4.5 of the developer to have that to be mixed together. So going back to the decimal point, that used to confuse me as a young colorist. I didn't understand, why would some lines just have a line, a number, and a letter, and why some would have a point system. Believe it or not, it's really the same thing that's happening. One is traditionally an American system, which is the number and the letter, like 7N or 8-ash. The other that has the decimal system, kind of like we do miles and kilometers and, metrics system is different depending on the country. The point system is more of a European system. That point something, really a colorist eventually will understand that is just, identifying the color family that we're going inside to create that shade. So in this instance, we're going with a 9 copper gold and we're going with a 7 copper, if that makes sense. So the point system, after a while, you kind of erase it in your mind in order to be able to use both the American lines and the European, traditionally Italian lines that are out there, right? Guys, invest in a scale to get the measurements exact. So many of our color formulations that don't come out like we like, it's not because something's wrong with the line. It's not because something's wrong with you or I. It's because we just didn't use a scale. This is chemistry at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Yes, it feels like art. We're going in to be artistic and creative. But in my mind, hair cutting is geometry and hair color is chemistry. And once we embrace those two sciences, we'll really excel as professional hairdressers and professional cutters and professional hair colorists by realizing that we can't leave the science and the mathematics in high school or college. Not a lot of us came to the beauty industry to get away from maybe traditional school, but any colorist will sit you down and tell you, oh, this is chemistry. And any cutter will tell you, guys, this is points and lines and 90 degrees and 45. There's a level of chemistry in hair color, and there's certainly geometry inside of hair cutting. So now, again, I already have her sectioned off. I've got my foils on decks. In this instance, I'm even asking the model or client to hand them to me. Some people don't prefer to do that. I think it's cool, to ask them if they're open to it, to be able to help out, to make it a little bit easier for us versus if you do or do not have a stand. Some salons don't have a stand, and it makes for great conversation. I think when the client is actually handing you the foils, you can have a great conversation with them. Most clients just don't want you to be on the phone or distracted or talking to somebody else. They want their time, skill-wise on their hair, but they also want that emotional connection. That's a huge part, of course, we all know, of what we're doing. Now I did the first section on the front left quadrant, and then I'm coming to the left back quadrant, and I'm going around as if I was, applying a relaxer. This is the way I apply foils. This is the way I've been doing it for years. You may have a different way or a different place that you start. Again, this video here on YouTube is not about placement as much as we're talking about formulation. So we're going in, and honestly, this is pretty by itself when it comes out in that finished look, right? I had her to be a little bit heavier on her front right quadrant because that's going to be her swoop. Every hairdresser and client knows what that swoop is, right? I want that to swoop over her hairline. So I made that a little bit heavier to make that more, prominent with the hair color. So you saw that purple base. Again, don't get thrown off by that. This is a copper, outcome. A lot of lines that to create copper, I can go through the science of it, but just know when you see that lavender color when you're using a copper series, certainly an intense copper series, it's not going to turn purple. Just in the bowl while it's oxidizing, it has that look. But when it's a finished deal, you're going to get that orange base or that copper base. This isn't super rich copper because, again, we use 9 copper gold. So it's more of like a peachy apricot look. And then we use a traditional, maybe cayenne color. I wouldn't even say cayenne. I would say more like copper penny. Cayenne is a little bit more intense. So we have these chunky highlights that really connect with her skin, brought in that copper tone. You see that very orange or copper tone in her skin. But then once we're done with that, the second process, we're going to go in with a quick blonde. Similar to how we did, it's going to be a totally different look. On the previous tutorial, guys, check this out on the Tribe membership. Look at these full tutorials where I go with a totally different voiceover that's for my professionals and that are members, where I tell you about the product and the placement and the reasoning and the client backstory and how you can charge for this, the pricing in your salon. That's what the Tribe is all about. It's, you know, really to take folks that want to go from good to great and from great to phenomenal with online education that you can access 24 hours a day, anywhere on the globe, versus packing up and, you know, getting a hotel and getting a flight and, you know, paying for the ticket and buying the products. We love trade shows, we love hair shows, but I think the way the industry is moving at this pace, we have to get connected with somebody that gives us access to education year round, any time of the day, late night, early morning, inside of a thunderstorm. We got to stay trained up because the game, every time we wake up in the morning, something's new that's out there. So I'm looking for the empty, dark spots that were maybe inside of the weaves that we did with the first shade. Remember, that was 9 copper gold, right? And now I'm just freehanding to use your own discretion and creativity on where to place the foils for the quick blondes, right? Not going back over the copper, but using her natural level 2 hair. It's a little bit lighter in some places, but this is like a true level 2. And now we're going in to do more golden pieces inside. This quick blonde, guys, her base could have been brown or chocolate. Her base could have been red. Excuse me, not base, but that first base highlight could have been any family, but gold typically. And it's just always a great compliment. And now we have this multi-dimensional, 2 different looks. Remember, once we rinsed off the copper, we didn't neutralize just yet. We went right back in as the hair was curly, using, at that point, we're being a creative, we're being an artist, to go in and place those blondes. But now we have this beautiful fall, spring, summer, really, or winter. And she absolutely loved it. Then we gave her a great silk press, and the placement gave her now where she had thinness maybe in her crown, where she had thinness around her hairline, the hair color becomes like an illusion. It becomes a distraction, and you don't see that. You see this beautiful color combination that she's been having great fun with, you know, doing different things with her makeup. You know, it livelies up her lipstick choices and hair choices. Remember, 7 copper, a 9 golden copper, equal parts. I use 40 volume developer. Yes, when you're going to levels 8, 9s, and 10s with permanent color, not lightener, you want to go in my opinion, with your 30 volumes and 40 volumes. Again, you don't need any heat. These color lines are calibrated and very sophisticated. Then we came back, right, and we went in with blonding with a lower volume developer, just to do quick blondes that, remember, those start changing upon contact. Guys, you could do this on locks, silk press, short hair, bobs, length, right? Our blonding paste of your choice, I used Ion, is 1-to-1 mixing ratio, 30 or 20 volume, depending on her texture, right? Depending on how strong her hair is and how porous it is. As a colorist, you can tell after a while of doing hair color on a regular basis, you know, whether the hair even needs anything more than 20, sometimes even 10, the hair, that outside layer just breaks through pretty quickly and you can live pretty fast. Again, she changed her lip. You know, we did a little photo shoot after this. This full tutorial, guys, step by step, is on the Tribe membership. I want to say that. But even this video for free here on YouTube, I'm convinced that these are some tips that you can use. Please leave me a comment inside of this video. Let me know that you're utilizing this on the West Coast, on the East Coast, in Canada, in Europe, wherever you are checking this out, because I think you could do this on any really texture and length, but certainly your silk press and blowout, especially while we're inside of Blowvember for everybody that's celebrating that. This is a very, go-to technique that you can make look a bunch of different ways with the placement, a bunch of different ways with that initial highlighting shade choice. And it's going to look different on the client depending on her facial structure, her features, and her texture and her length. Our final model, which is also a full step-by-step tutorial on the tribe, is Regina. Now, she has some previous hair color, so this is a very common client in our salons. What happens with a lot of our clients is they love color, but they're not big fans of always cutting their hair off. So if they get a full head of color and then they want to get new color, we have to shape and trim like I did here to take off some previous color to create a new palette and incorporate it. We're going to go in with 3 different shades of highlights. All right, we're going to go with 3 different tonal family difference in each one. 10 ash is going to be our lightest shade. Then we've got an 8.13 beige blonde. And then we have a 9 double ash, right? Or intense ash. All similar in levels. So they're high up on our lift level chart, but they have different backstories, right? We have a 10 ash, we have a beige blonde, and then we have a 9 intense ash because she has a lot of warmth inside of her skin. So we know she's going to have a lot of warmth in her hair. I'm using a pink, a purple, and a black brush in order to remind myself, the pink being the lightest, the purple being that middle shade, that level 9, and the 8 is that level 8, right? So that's a way to, even though the bowls are similar, the brushes will remind me the order of each of the shades that I'm using for this application. Same thing, I'm having her to hand me over the foils. Now, this is a traditional full head application of these foils, right? And I'm going to be going back to back in some instances, and sometimes I'll double up with some of the shades, in particular the lightest shade, that 10 ash, because I want that lightest to pop out. Here's a way to give a client hair color who wants brightness but may not want the commitment of an entire head of hair color like our first model that had the red all over, or maybe does not want lightener, to be used. Although you can use your discretion a lot of times as the professional. In this instance, we're using permanent color, a traditional full head application of highlights, right? So I'm going in, if you notice, right near her ear, up until like the top of her temple area, I left that out. She does a lot of ponytails, and that will hide any grow out. And it was a little thinner around her hairline, which is very, very, common amongst our clients. So I'm leaving that kind of, temple area near her ear where it would pull back to camouflage any grow out, even though we're not going all the way to the tip here, all the way to the root here. And also, this will also allow us to just save a little, kind of sensitive area around her hairline. Same thing might be happening in her nape area or in her crown. But we're going up and we have it parted in sections that are going to like a point, right? They're starting on the top of her hairline near her ear, and then it's going to a triangle point to her crown, having everything to be on a diagonal so you're able to see the different variations even when the hair is long. She doesn't have a lot of layers. She did not want a lot of layers inside of her hair. We did cut off a lot of the previous, well, not a lot, but a good bit of the previous color. This isn't a haircut tutorial. This is a highlight tutorial, and I go in depth, talking about highlighting, about different shading, about the choices of the highlights, about the timing, the lines that I'm using. Guys, this full tutorial again is on the tribe membership, but I want to talk again about formulation. So I use 30 volume for the level 8. I use 40 volume for both the level 9 and level 10, and they can process all together. Unlike with that second model where I had to do a double process to add in the quick blondes, this is all the same type of color. Okay, this is all, one is from Ion, right, the level 10, and the other two are going to be from Russ. So one is 1 to 1.5. The Ion, on the other hand, is a 1-to-1 ratio. They actually have great blondes. It's inside of Sally's. Some people were like, wait, you shouldn't tell people that you're buying permanent hair color out of Sally. That's a little extra game. Guys, listen. Sally's in particular owns a lot of companies. Low key, they own Cosmoprof. Yes, Sally's, the same company, owns Cosmoprof. So there's a lot of formulas that's inside of Sally's that is professional grade, even though it's Sally's, right? So you can get that in any city, in any corner, and that allows you to get pro quality and a very affordable rate. And they have great blondes and great browns. I'm not a fan of their chocolates and their coppers. I prefer Rusk and other lines for that as far as richness, but that's a great line. That's 1-to-1, low ammonia, great lift. You don't even need any heat. And they're a go-to that I've used for over a decade inside of my salon. We've made a freaking fortune. So check them out. I don't have any connection to Sally's at all, but I'm just giving you some free game. I'm going in afterwards. She still had some more. You see that her skin tone is clearly yellow, right? You see that yellow in the wood in the background is right the same as her skin tone, right? So there's a lot of yellow or warmth there. So I'm going in with a purple shampoo, the opposite side of the color spectrum or the color wheel, to tonal things out or to tone things down or to cool it off. You could go in with a purple demi permanent. You could go in with a different, shampoo of your choice or a purple conditioner. What we're trying to do is just to counteract things with a gloss or a glaze to cool things down, and we get this cool reaction. How about that, guys? So the previous color that she had, guys, I want you to go inside of the description and sign up for the Tribe membership so you can actually hear step by step and recreate this $300 or more hair color, and then add that on top of whatever your silk press or your cut is inside of your salon. So this was 3 different models, 3 different type of approaches. Drop any questions you got in the comments, guys. I'd love to answer that. And certainly you can get even more detail and one-on-one coaching inside of the Tribe membership as a member. You can ask me anything, any time of the day. You have access to me as a member. Again, $17 a month. Look at the before and after there. Went in with some curls, but I'm stopping it here. I just love the rock and roll, edgy look inside of her. And she's a mom, so she wanted something to edge things up when I've known her since she was in her 20s. So let's take some years off, even though she still looks like a baby. But she really enjoyed it, and I hope these tips you can use immediately in your salon.
So again, YouTube family, those are just 3 models from dozens that are on the Tribe membership. Again, if you're interested in online education and you learn best online to enhance your skills inside of your salon as a professional hairdresser, to enhance your game as a salon suite owner, guys, click the link, join the Tribe membership. It's just 17 bucks a month. But I hope that this free video on YouTube gives you a little bit more confidence with hair color and understand it's our friend. It's an entire aisle down the beauty supply store. We can't walk by that and really think to maximize our potential and earning potential inside of the salon. So I hope that this gives you some tips and tricks to get your mind, kind of clicking on, okay, ratio and measuring and developer choice and how long we have it on and how much do we use and do we do it 1-to-1, 1 to 1.5. All those things are important, and once you got it, you got it. So again, I hope this was helpful, guys. For those of you that decide to join the Tribe membership, my online education subscription for pro hairstylists all around the world, now we don't have to go to education. Education can come to us on any digital device from any city on the globe. If you decide to join and subscribe, welcome to the Tribe in advance. Till next time here on YouTube, guys.